Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Monday, February 12th, 2024. Welcome to day 1119. Donald Trump said he would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want to NATO countries that were delinquent in meeting the group's guidelines for defense spending. Trump was recounting an exchange from his time in office with the leader of a big country who asked whether it would be protected if Russia attacked, at which point he said, "You didn't pay? You're delinquent? No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want." The White House called Trump's comments appalling and unhinged, adding that encouraging invasions of our closest allies by murderous regimes endangers American national security, global stability, and our economy at home. NATO's Secretary General, meanwhile, said that any suggestion that allies will not defend each other undermines all of our security, including that of the U.S., and puts American and European soldiers at increased risk. Meanwhile, more than a dozen Republicans ignored Trump and voted to approve a bill that would send $95 billion in aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The final vote was 67 to 27, with 18 Republicans voting to advance the foreign aid package. Last week, Republicans rejected a bipartisan version of the bill, which included border policy changes that Republicans had demanded after Trump campaigned against the legislation over fears that it could be seen as a win for Biden. It's unclear, however, if House Speaker Mike Johnson will take up the legislation if it passes the Senate. Moving on, despite Biden warning Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that a military operation in Rafah should not proceed without a credible and executable plan to protect the more than 1 million people sheltering there, Israel launched a wave of airstrikes that killed dozens of people, including children. The operation freed 2 hostages, and Netanyahu vowed to use continued military pressure to return the remaining hostages. In private, Biden has called Benjamin Netanyahu an asshole, saying the prime minister is impossible to deal with, and the campaign in Gaza is over the top. So far, Biden has stopped short of directly criticizing Netanyahu in public, and the White House has rejected calls to withhold military aid to Israel or to impose conditions on it, saying that doing so would only embolden Hamas. In private, however, Biden has suggested that Netanyahu wants the war to drag on so he can remain in power, noting his failure to shift tactics in Gaza and the repeated rejections of basic U.S. demands, such as allowing food, water, and medicine into Gaza. And finally, Trump asked the Supreme Court to block a lower court ruling that rejected his claim that he is absolutely immune from criminal charges for his attempts to overturn the 2020 election. While 2 lower courts have rejected Trump's claim of total immunity, Trump insisted that presidents are shielded from prosecution and that a trial would radically disrupt his re-election bid. Trump warned that if a president can be prosecuted for actions taken while in office, such prosecutions will recur and become increasingly common, ushering in destructive cycles of recrimination, adding that without immunity from criminal prosecution, the presidency as we know it will cease to exist. Trump was charged by special counsel Jack Smith with 4 counts in connection with his efforts to overturn the 2020 election, and U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkin has paused proceedings and the scheduled March 4th trial date until Trump's appeal is resolved. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.